what do you think about this, Ewok? I mean, are these meme tokens? You know, everybody is talking, of course, about. I'm not calling this entity or the pDAI thing a meme. I actually think that's probably not the best way to define pDAI itself anyway. Maybe some of the other stuff. I mean, teddy bear clearly is a meme, I would say. But we're seeing a lot of the memes really bringing a lot of these like .eth people over to PulseChain, because there's a lot of people that, you know, remember, I mean, like, even though there are people that invest in Pulse that hate some of the stuff that's going on the network, well, ETH has all kinds, you know, infinite amount of garbage going on the network at this point, obviously. But we're seeing some of these like .eth people come over to PulseChain because it's a better chain right now. The fees are much less. But we've got all these memes, as I mentioned, teddy bear. Not that we're touching it or anything like that, because I'm pretty confident neither of us are. Even though we don't like memes, is it a good thing, though, that they are bringing people to Pulse in what has been a boring part of this market? I mean, I think we're maybe exiting that stage just because we're seeing green panels or candles from PulseChain. But what do you make of it? Because, you know, I know this has been an age-old thing. We have a layer one now. It's not just Hex. I understand, you know, it is just Hex and it was on Ethereum and everything. I understand, you know, cautioning people against other stuff. I mean, I understand cautioning people against other stuff now, but we've got to have stuff happening on the network. And the fact that the Atropa stuff has blown up so much, I think is great, just for the volume on the network. Remember how much Pulse X is being burned, how much Pulse is being burned, and the buy and burn on Pulse X, I should say. But what do you make of it? I mean, I'm all for it, even though, as we've talked about, we're not really getting involved in that stuff.
Yeah, I still consider pDAI a meme coin, but yeah, how could it not be good, right? We want traffic on the chain. We want it to gain adoption. You know, I mentioned it in the stream before, or last week or the week, whenever it was. I think it was when Axis was with us. But you know, if you own PulseChain, you own the casino, and I think that's the part of the equation that, you know, it doesn't mean you have to buy this stuff. If you can be excited for the network to grow. You know, I think we became the fifth largest one. We're right behind. There's a couple that we could kind of leapfrog with just a little bit more volume. It's exciting. You know, it brings action back in a very down time. I just, you know, want people to be cautious, not FOMO into these, because, you know, while there may be some winners, those people have already bought and now they're pumping it. There's going to be a lot of losers too. Remember, crypto is a zero-sum game. For every winner, there's a loser. So, you know, I think it's great that it's getting attention. I think it's great that it's bringing users. Nothing wrong with that at all. Just, you know, just be careful. use your common sense. And if you hear something or see something pumping, that's probably not the time to get in. You know, you never know. It could go a lot higher. You know, that theory doesn't always work. But you definitely don't want to buy after you see 3 or 4 green candles, thinking it's got a long way to go. That's just, it's a very dangerous play. But, you know, to answer your question, I think it's super exciting. Meme coins have always brought the degens, always brought the action, and especially right now in the bear market when there's just not a whole lot going on. Yeah. What we saw, though, when our core tokens started to pump, you saw those meme coins going down. So I think people maybe sold some of those and got in to catch the pump. And you know, that's one of the things where you just have to be careful, because if you're not watching and you're not timing things right, rather than just sitting in the coin that you like, you're going to miss out. You may catch some gains. You may flip some profits in. You know, it would be nice to see all the profits fall back into those coins. But at what cost? You know, did you get a better position, or did you get a worse one because you were getting chopped up going back and forth and you didn't time it right? You know, just some of the things that you have to be careful of. Like I said, owning PulseChain or Pulse coin, Pulse token, you know, you're making the fees, you're making the profits as things go on, as the network gets busy. So that's my take on them.
Yeah, because, and I agree with what you said. I mean, like if you start to dip your toes in, whether it is like the pDAI thing or one of the other million things apparently associated with Atropa, at what point have you gone against your actual plan? You know, there are people out there that, you know, obviously B Roots is the big person everybody is going to talk about that's involved with that stuff, but he's kind of already made it and he's been doing this stuff for a very long time, you know, and I imagine that he's a smart enough guy. He's playing with money that he can afford to lose. I've been in the pDAI Telegram group, and let me tell you, they're not as smart as B Roots. So, to alluding to what you said a minute ago, Ewok, about people that kind of wrecked themselves accidentally on that and the buying the green candles and everything. It is people with that mentality. You know, you look around. I think I heard Crypto Sloth say it one day. I think Rags might have said it one day. I'm not trying to pin anything on anybody that isn't true, but just watching some people's streams, I've seen a few people kind of with. I said it on our stream last week with Axis. Like I throw a flyer into pDAI, like a lottery ticket, small amount of money. That's the only one that, you know, I can see some sense in if it gets there and I want to be involved in it. But there are people doing things that are not long-term smart decisions, kind of like what you're talking about, and that are looking for those quick gains, that do not have that experience and shouldn't be doing it, that would be better off just holding. So, you know, I understand this whole fight about like who's a maxi and who's not. I just don't think is really worth it. I understand people that don't even want to mention this stuff because of what I just talked about. There are people out there that are just not educated as much and they will wreck themselves, you know? So
yeah, you got to use caution when talking about these things. And, you know, again, we don't recommend that anybody buy anything that, you know, because of what we said, or, you know, and I'm sure any YouTuber will say the same thing. You know, we're not here because we're your financial advisor. Ultimately, you know, you still click the button, but we talk about what's happening and where the things are flowing. And, you know, it's just, it's a unfortunate, like I said, that it is a zero-sum game, and there's going to be winners, but there's going to be the losers too.
Yeah, there definitely will be. So, but it is good that we are seeing this activity on the chain. That was really the main point.